Hello everyone, this is Korith Landwalker, and this afternoon we have another exciting experience in store in Star Citizen. As you may have noticed from the title of my stream today, Xenothreat has returned. Unfortunately, it sounds like Xenothreat has also wrapped up on the server I'm on, which means dealing with him appropriately might be a little more challenging than expected. So, I guess some explanation is in order for those who have not been following Star Citizen for months and months. Earlier this year, I'm pretty sure it was earlier this year, might have been later last year, the developers of Star Citizen implemented dynamic events, and the testbed of said dynamic events was a little something they called Xenothreat. Xenothreat is actually the name of a group of pirates in a neighboring star system, the system of Pyro. And apparently, they've started talking smack. That's the short version. They started talking smack and got the attention of the United Empire of Earth, and they immediately decided to, the Empire of Earth that is, decided to send some reinforcements in the form of a Javelin destroyer. If you're not familiar with the Javelin, don't be surprised. You only see it very occasionally. It is the top line, biggest playable ship in the game, although you can't actually play it in the game yet. They don't have interiors all done for it, and it requires more crew than a server is able to handle at the moment. It'll get there, eventually. Let's get that claimed. I'm gonna need my Star Runner when things start going. I don't think I need to expedite, especially when I have 5 minutes left to go with that. In any event, they brought the Javelin Destroyer over, and they did something or other. And they needed to stop over at INS Jericho space station, specifically the Imperial Naval Station Jericho, to rearm, refuel, and repair the Javelin. And in order to do that, they needed to have a bunch of Starfarer fueling ships make their way from wherever to the station. Unfortunately, those vessels are highly vulnerable. Xenothreat dropped in and blew them up. And that is where you, the player, come in. Your duty, when Xenothreat is actually operational, which I don't believe it is, at least not the server I'm on. Nope, and nope. Grr. I knew that was going to happen too. I knew in my heart that when I started doing the stream, Xenothreat would be over and be unavailable for the entirety of my stream. I feel wrong. So you're going to have to deal with my description instead of the actual entertainment value. Simply put, your mission, when it's available, is threefold. You don't have to do all the activities involved. And the thing I like best about Xenothreat is it has something for everybody. What you want to do is basically go over, recover the materials that the Starfarers, the fueling ships, were supposed to deliver, and take them to Jericho. This involves a couple possible steps. First, you need a ship to get over that can haul cargo. That means something like a Cutlass or a Freelancer, or, in my personal preferred case, the Mercury, and load it up with the cargo that was on the Starfarers. However, let's just say that the cargo ships are not unattended. There are potentially pirates on board those ships, so you have a little bit of something for your first-person shooter players. Go on board, kill off the pirates so you can start offloading the cargo. There's a few types of cargo that makes transport interesting. Load the cargo up onto a ship, and that ship makes a run back to the Jericho. Also complicating things are the fact that Xenothreat will occasionally throw starships to harass anybody near the wrecks. So you've got your spaceship combat. And they can be anything from light fighters to heavier fare. I'm not sure if hammerheads show up, but they might. They certainly do near the end of the situation when the Jericho is gotten all of its materials and the folks at Xenothreat throw everything they have. And that includes not only hammerheads, but also the fearsome Idris, which is the second most powerful ship currently in the game, which will someday be flyable by players, but not yet. Again, making the exteriors and all that is easy. Making the mechanics that support them from the interior, that's harder. And again, we have that crew issue. So, something for everybody. People who like to run cargo, people who like to do spaceship combat of all stripes, whether they're light fighters or heavier, and something for first-person shooters. And good afternoon, Legend Eternal. I hope things are going well on your end of the monitor today. I have just found out that the server I'm on literally just completed Xenothreat. That stings. That really stings. It's like right here, chest. So, the grand showcase for now is a fantastic God to Xenothreat twice this morning. That's right, rub it in, Legend. And hey, Cap, hope you're doing okay too. Oh, I am mildly resentful of this situation. Mildly, because, you know, it'll go on all week. Come on, I was kind of hoping to showcase it today on the stream. And what do? They yank the rug from out of me. Got a server hop. Oh, and when it's starting and not bugged. Is that currently causing a problem? Are we running into a lot of bugs? Ninetales was bugged. But I was hoping that, you know, Xenothreat would be better. I don't want to server hop too much. I mean, here we are live on stream. I think the people would much prefer to see me doing stuff as opposed to, you know, going back and forth on servers. But, you know, couldn't hurt to try at least a couple. A lot of times it finishes just after the cargo part finishes. Okay, looks like they're having problems with their triggers. Okay, let's exit the menu and let's see if I can get a different server than this one. Depressing, depressing, depressing. The whole server hopping question is a pleasant one, though, because that indicates the possibility that maybe they aren't all in the same timer. Persistent universe. We'll specifically go for a specific US one, just in case. I'm pretty sure I was going that way anyway, but... Pause for a few moments to give whatever server I was on the opportunity of having somebody log into it and ensure that I don't. Visit location and pray. Especially pray that I don't get stuck in an infinite loading screen. Loading screens will sometimes either be fast or slow, and trying to figure out which ones will be fast and which ones will be slow. Yeah, that's a lost cause. Still, I have high hopes. While we're at this loading screen, I'm going to Well, I don't know. Let's find out. Let me use my handy tools here. I'd like to point out that Legend Eternal there has his own Twitch stream that he does.
We need volunteers to help retrieve cargo or provide combat support.
And he's going to be doing an interesting stream tomorrow around 2ish p.m. No, 2 or 3 p.m. Eastern. I think it's, I want to say it's 3 p.m. Eastern, where the Eternal Rider organization is going to be doing some racing. We're going to have that stream tomorrow. Now, see, that works. And it even worked the way it was supposed to. Who'd have thunk it? I heard a voice, which indicates to me that Xenothreat is happening. Either that or I'm hallucinating, which is equally possible. Okay, I'm starting at 90,000 UEC, so clearly I am in the poorhouse after having spent so much money on a bunch of stuff. I will accept the offer for the Civilian Defense Force.
Glad to have you back. I'll get you the details for the mission, but you should.
And that seems to be all that's happening at the moment. So let's hop down to the elevators and get ready to rumble. Yeah, I think including the @ sign was not the way to go. Don't use the @ sign when you're using my shout-out tool there. And I'm not even sure if it's enabled for people who aren't me. It's learning. One of the things I need to do is make sure that I put certain hashtags in. No, there's that @ sign again. Don't use the @ sign. Using the @ sign will not make it work. Of course, admittedly, not using the @ sign might not help either. I don't recall the settings I have working on it right now. Ha! No, I'm afraid you did that one wrong, Cap. You need to replace loves with despises, and then you might get closer. I say closer because really despises is such an inadequate term. Alright, Mercury Star Runner, my preferred tool for running cargo in dangerous situations. Of course, I wasn't paying close attention to what landing pad I'm on. Dummy me. Luckily, with my stream being like 20 seconds behind my computer, at least based on my iPad. Yes, I'm clicking the elevator button again. Because, as we all know, clicking an elevator button repeatedly will make it work faster. Pretty sure I was copping honest. Set my affiliate stuff up where we can cheer and do hype trains and stuff. I'm gonna need a lot more viewers before I get to the point of doing hype trains. Plus, isn't it nice to be able to go to a stream and not have to worry about nuts? Did I just 30K? My screen just went completely black. What the hell? What the hell? Did I dream all this? Was I really sleeping this whole time when I thought I was grabbing my Star Runner? What the hell? Yeah, I got infinite loading screen, which is always fun. You can cheer 3 times in a row and start one. It wouldn't go very far. And yeah, Weird doesn't even begin to cover it. We have just entered the Twilight Zone. I still have the mission, so I must have done that part right. Would still put you at the top of the category list for a few minutes. Yeah, we know. There are far bigger and more impressive Star Citizen streamers than I am out there. And they're welcome to it because, you know, one of the benefits of being where I am is that I'm not inflicting upon my viewers vast amounts of commercials. I may very well be advertisement free because I am not an affiliate. Twilight Zone, Twilight Zone. Pad 12. Hey, isn't that where I went the last time before everything went crazy? And meanwhile, people are happily going along, scooping the stuff off over at those freighters. Grumble, grumble, grumble. Okay. Let's see if we can get to Pad 12 this time without going into Never Never Land. Otherwise, I might have to take extreme measures. So far, so good. We're a little over a kilometer away. Dyed your head It happened again. It happened again. I'm in the freaking Twilight Zone. I feel like I've been here before. Okay. I'm going to take this as a sign. We're going to go to a different server again. I've been somehow space warped back again. Yeah, glitch in the Matrix. Look, it's that deja vu. Look for those agents. Once I'm an affiliate, we can hear enough to force me to buy an SSD and start doing PTU. Oh, that's where you're in for a horrible surprise there. You're not going to catch me forced into an SSD, even though it would be handy. The time may be coming sooner than one thinks, though, because one of the reasons I haven't done it is I've been too reluctant to bother opening up my computer and moving it around and stuff. But I'm thinking about redoing my computer desk setup substantially, and that will certainly give me an excuse. Of course, I've said things like this in the past, so don't read too much into that. All right, another server. Now, if this server hoses me on the Pad 12 thing, then we're going to have to take even more extreme measures. I mean, this may be bad, but I am not beaten yet. It's doing a good job on beating me down, but it hasn't beaten me yet. As I said, my preference is to do the Mercury. But if it puts me on Pad 12 and I end up zapping myself back into my quarters again, then I'm going to have to try something new. Infinite load again. Are you trying to join a server, or are you just trying to get in, period? When I say join a server, I'm talking about joining somebody else's server, like Caps, for example. I know you can't be trying to join mine because mine is too crazy. Well, first things first, let's make sure that... Damn it. I've joined a new server, and I think it's the server I started out with on the first place. The one that had Xenothreat done. Alright, fine. It wants to play that way. Fine, we'll play it that way. Xenothreat doesn't quite return. Done. We're updating the title here today. We are now no longer Xenothreat returns. We're going to say Xenothreat doesn't quite return. Because Xenothreat has screwed me over one too many times here today. Screw you, Xenothreat. So what do we do that's interesting, that doesn't require those dirty scumbag Xenothreat people? Yeah, we're on the whole grrr thing here. Maybe I'll be lucky and Xenothreat will start up again during the stream, but I am not going to be a slave to Xenothreat, dagnabbit. I am a free man. And in this case, free means hop on a starship and do something else. Now, doing something else means not being here. So, we are going to hop on board. Oh, how about this? Before I hop on board anything, let's go to my equipment manager and look to see what I have decent quantum drives on. Crossfield on Andromeda. Sounds good. And while I'm here, I better check something else too, because my plan of action, pad 7, is going to be highly dependent upon where I find other things. Okay. So I'll throw that plan out the window. Well, first things first. Everus Harbor. All my options become available at Everus. Unless, of course, I get zapped into limbo again by these elevators. Presuming that the elevator arrives. If there are any devs watching, I want you to understand one of my greatest demands here. And I demand, this is not negotiable, I demand that these elevators have Muzak. This is not negotiable. I insist on having elevator music. It's the only way you can make some of these travels kilometers away tolerable. I demand elevator music. Get on that. We have all kinds of epic music happening in this game. I'm sure the guy can create pretty good elevator music. Okay, let's hop on board and we're going to head out of here. I wonder how many people are using the Constellation Taurus for Xenothreat these days. The Constellation Taurus is a recent release, finally, the cargo freight variant, but I don't know if it loads quite as easily as ships with a ramp. It has a cargo elevator. Not the same thing. Okay, so far good. I may not have Xenothreat rolling here, but at least I was able to get to my ship. Swinging around. And aiming at my favorite planet, Hurston. Saw a few. Ran cargo into Sentinel. Yeah, I think I saw some of that on your stream yesterday. 30 boxes, that's pretty good. 30 boxes in the Sentinel. You must have done some serious stacking in there. Now, according to my map here, it will take 190 seconds to cover the distance between Mikael 1 and Evers Harbor. So, nope, a little over 3 minutes. If there were actually no problems. Me and Woody did. He just joined the Discord server. Well, if you're watching, Woody, hi, welcome to the gang. If you're not, good for you. Who would want to inflict this stream on themselves anyway? Let's see. My shields seem to be having a little bit of problems charging. What happens if I boost this power up a little bit? Like, okay, nothing happens because it doesn't want to go. Oh, you know, if that happens, I don't think I put any special shields on here anyway. I wonder if any of those switches work. Yes, cargo bay actually does work. Screens are probably related to the future shield emitters, which isn't a thing now. Transponder? Well, that has some interesting implications for the future. Transponders are usually how people would identify who you are in your ship. So if you were to turn it off, that would be an interesting. So that feels like pirate potential gameplay right there. On the other side, we have multiple comm stuff, intercoms, target, HLG target. I'm not sure what that is. Push to talk. Multiple displays. None of these seem to work. I'm hovering over them and I'm not getting any interaction for them. But the fact that they exist implies that someday they might. Push all the buttons. Gee, what's this button here do? It says self-destruct. Oh, we have buttons down here too. Didn't even see these guys. Coupled, R-coupled, ESP, G-Save. Yeah, we know these guys. Cruise control. Oh, they've got a number of these things that are operational down here, don't they? Sensors, which don't work. And I don't think the scanning stuff's going to work either at the moment. But proximity flight assist. Cruise control, key safe, coupled. Not bad at all. The future is bright. What's not bright is the fact that there's an OM marker that seems to be requiring me to plow through the planet. On the other hand, we had no problem spooling and calibrating. Obstructed, there we go. I'm not going to say I feel better, but at least it makes sense. And resetting my route doesn't help, so I'm just going to have to hope I can find the OM marker that is not 6. Somewhere around this area. Not helping. There we are. You can tell because of the larger diamond icon. Smaller icons generally indicate things like space stations that are far, far away. Or at least Lagrange points, let's put it that way. But the larger diamonds, those are the OM markers. Okay. Turn key-safe off. Don't be a girl. Girls are awesome, legend. They rule the world according to Beyonce. Yeah, I am so not going to get trapped in that kind of conversation. OM1. Now that I should be able to get to. As far as G-Safe goes, I'm not sure that the Constellation maneuver is fast enough where G-Safe is actually going to be a problem for me. No. First, before I do anything else, I'm going to go to Everest Harbor and tag Everest Harbor so that if I accidentally blow up, I'll at least spawn back there. So we're going to close in. No problem so far around Everest. Sometimes when I get around Everest, all the controls decide to go kablooey. I'm hoping that won't be the case. And the quantum drive stuff seems to have kicked up again. That is a bug. There's no way that's supposed to be happening. When I say turn off, that is not an exaggeration. I mean turn off. Okay, I've reached the armistice zone, which means I should soon be getting ATC contacting me. That's been kind of weird this patch too. Like, really? Okay, there's a contact. Not coming vocally. They should be having an audio, but that got bummed down somewhere along the line too. Contact ATC to land, so we will scroll down and tag the Everest Harbor. Again, silence. Hopefully they're going to tell me soon, though.
Please proceed to assign landing bay.
Yes, please proceed to assign landing bay. Thank you, I would love to do so. Let's turn off the cruise control for a second so I can find said landing bay. Now, technically, and I've been told this again and again and again, once I've gotten that, I don't need to actually land. But I'm gonna. If for no other reason than the fact that I just want to make sure that everything is nice and neat, plus it gives me a chance to refuel. Get that quantum stuff up, just in case Xenothreat decides to pop while we're waiting. Ah, too much momentum.
Landing complete. Have a pleasant stay.
Landing complete. Takeoff complete.
Okay, it's not something that I would be proud of as far as success rate goes, but I'll take what I can get. Did my money just drop? Alright, because I didn't expedite. Duh. I expedited a ship that basically wouldn't let me get to it, so I feel a little bad about that. Third infinite load. On the plus side, the stream has full attention. I feel for you, man. I do. That infinite loading screen has been a pain in the ass for a lot of people this patch. I've run into it usually trying to join somebody else's server. Let's take the opportunity to recoup some of that cash by taking a mission. And I have plenty of possibilities, but you know what? I'm bored. We're going to try something more unusual. We're going to go for the Evict Illegal Occupants mission. HDSF Hendrix. We're going to do a little bit of that first-person shooter thing. However, we're going to get a little more entertaining about it. So first, get this thing to zoom properly on Hurston. Second, find Hendrix. There we are. And third, ignore Hendrix. I'm going to go to Edmund. You see, we're not going to do this the traditional way. We're going to do this the fun way. And actually, now that I think about it, we have a couple fun ways to work with here. Oh, I'm going to mad science this like crazy. You know what? Forget what I said about the going to Edmund, we'll go to Hendrix right away. I had forgotten an important detail that might make this even more entertaining. It may also end up screwing me over horribly, but you know, such is life, right? So first things first, we'll jump on over. Oh yeah, forgot about the landing gear. Oops. Thank God the computer is paying more attention than I am, or otherwise I'd probably have to repair my landing gear all the time. All right. We are in dark. Or, if you want to be really old school about it, it is pitch black. You are likely to be eaten by a groove. We are 22 kilometers away and change. And I am going to stop. Oh, damn you, damn you. Damn you people. Xenothreat's attacking. Zork hype. Yeah, you betcha. Oh, damn you people. Popping Xenothreat on me now. Well, too late. I'm taking care of this first. Grumble, grumble, grumble. So you're probably wondering, why did Korth stop? There's a reason for this. First, I'm going to make sure that I'm pitched properly. And then we're going to make use of something that I haven't really made too much use out of. We're going to just leave the ship here to hover. Please, God, let it hover. And we're going to take the P-52 Merlin in. Plenty of time, very few people actually run cargo, so it takes forever. We are going to P-52 Merlin our way there. And we're going to go with, we'll do some seriously low flying. So theoretically I'll be flying so low that those turrets will not be able to get shots on at me. At least that's the theory. Yes, I am aware that this qualifies as famous last words. Oops. Power on. Okay, let's see. Undock. Now, the good news here is I would not be able to do this except for one thing. I'm going to turn around for a minute and face my ship. Now, you'll notice at the top of my HUD, I've got a compass now. So I can kind of figure approximately where I'm at. So I'm a little around, we'll call it 321 degrees. The bearing is 321. So that way I should theoretically be able to return to my ship after succeeding in this mission. Presuming that I don't completely booger things up and die beforehand. So first thing I want to do is get to ground. You know, I'm getting to ground a little faster than I actually want to get to ground. Let's level off a little bit. I have never tried this before. I mean, I've done the whole docking, undocking thing with the Merlin, but I've never made use of it in a situation like this, where I'm getting ready to attack a location. So I'm going to be very interested in seeing how well this works out as a plan. Visibility has gone to hell. All I know is I'm supposedly 2 kilometers above the surface, but for all I know, it may be closer. And this is where the dangerous part comes in. Okay, I can see the horizon. Let's hope I can get there. A little lower, a little lower. Too much dust being thrown around. I can't get a good view. This is going to be very interesting in a minute. Let's drop the landing gear.
Landing gear deployed.
A little lower, a little lower. Oh, collision to work. Oh! Oops! Well, that did not go as planned. I'm more curious to see if if Taurus will maintain orbit. Well, that's not really a problem because I was flying an Andromeda, not a Taurus, but you know, close enough. And this is why night missions are dangerous. Especially when you have so much junk in the air and your spotlight is refracting like crazy. Alright. Alright, let's... I'm getting the feeling that this cot does not want me to leave. Wah, wah, wah. Yeah, I get that. I don't have one of those fancy Stream Deck things, so I can't really do that. For a brief time, I was able to fiddle around with the Streamlabs app on my phone to access the Stream Deck, but it caused, shall we say, unexpected results, like occasionally crashing my stream, so I went away from using it. Okay, well, that went poorly. And now I have a decision to make. Oh, actually, no, I don't. I was thinking about spawning the Merlin and jumping to the same area, except the Merlin doesn't have a quantum drive, so I can't do that. If you have a Corsair keyboard, stop right there. Yeah, that sounds far too high tech for me. I have the baseline Dell keyboard. Actually, it's not even the baseline Dell keyboard because I'm pretty sure this is a keyboard I've had at least 2 computers back. Because I'm cheap. Oh, and adding insult to injury. I could have done my original plan after all. Why not? You know what? Fine. Let's do my original plan. Now, you may be thinking that a C2 Hercules Starlifter is really the wrong tool to take for a bunker assault. And, you know, it is. But you may have also noticed another marker by my Starlifter. You see, last week, after my stream, I picked up the Tumbril Nova tank. So now, instead of doing a low-fly mission to go in a Merlin and go to the bunker, we're going to take a tank. Because nothing says outright violence than using a tank. What pad am I on? 4. Of course, if I crash the Hercules into the ground, that'll certainly make the whole tank thing academic. Enter affiliate. Stream income for new toys. Yeah, I'm sure that the 25 cents I would earn on a yearly basis would get me all sorts of toys. That would barely allow me to use an arcade game 40 years ago. Tank hype, yes. Bring on the tank. Oh. Ha 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 ha. That's hangar 4, not pad 4. Ha ha. I've been spoiled. Take that quarter, parlay your money at Chuck E. Cheese, and build your empire. I don't know, do they still have Joust machines? I could probably do it on Joust. Some of these newer games I'd probably get crushed by. Alright, almost to the hangar. Of course, the downside here is using the hangar means I'm at the mercy of the Hurston ATC. And they take a childlike delight in screwing around the hangar bay. We're going to go into the back end here because, you know, that way we can see the fun toy that I'll be using here. This is a ship that is designed to carry vehicles, and none more than the Tumbril Nova. For when you care enough to send the very best. Massive gun capable of blowing up small spaceships, which I have done. It should certainly be more than enough to handle those exterior turrets in the bunker. Now, honestly, I really won't need to worry about those turrets. I'm going to blow them up anyway because, you know, spite. This is the civilian variant, so it's basically all about the cargo. You can get the M2, which is a military variant, and it has a couple other bonus features like more passenger space for dropping crew. Presumably the folks who will be driving the vehicles. Menu, communications, open sesame. Please. There we go. And the door opens.
You are clear to launch.
The Hercules is not a small ship. It takes up a good chunk of the width of this hangar. It also takes up a good chunk of the length of the hangar, too. But you can carry vehicles in here. You can carry a couple tanks, a couple ballistas, a ballista and a tank. You can get huge amounts of cyclones or dragonflies. You can get you can get a number of rovers. There's so much to like about the cargo capacity on this thing. And now, once again, SDF Hendrix, and hopefully I won't accidentally crash into my floating Andromeda, which is probably still floating around out there. And if it is, this could get very interesting very quickly. And by interesting, I mean, oh god, I'm so dead. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. I think I've got the basic quantum drive in this thing. I don't think I replaced it. My bad.
Quantum travel engaged.
Oh, yeah, I'm tracking my Andromeda. The Andromeda's still there. Let's hope I don't crash into it after my quantum jump. Although, given the way this stream has gone today, it would not surprise me either. 60, 30, oh, it's getting a little too close. 3 kilometers.
Quantum travel
Up,
complete.
up, rise! Ah, stupid quantum drive. There it is. There it is. Wave to it as we go by. Bye, Andromeda! Okay, let's kick on the lights. Even though it's going to be pretty horrific. Well, actually, I just kicked them off. My bad. But I really do want to get to the ground quickly now. Relatively quickly. I know I should be okay until we get around 2 kilometers. At 2 kilometers, life gets a little bit dangerous, so I want to make sure I'm leveling myself out, so that way, worst comes to worst, I'll crash on my landing gear. Maybe that will keep me from dying a horrible, hideous death. And let's go to third-person view a little bit, because, you know, that might help determining how close I am. And the answer to how close I am is getting closer fast. Let's turn off the cruise control. Level out. Where's the ground? Where's the ground? I mean, I can see movement. Okay, we're getting into the Dust Bowl area. Let's try to point myself towards my target a little bit. Am I pointing to my target? Yes, I am. I'm not seeing my... Oh, heck, I'm kind of sideways. No wonder I'm having a little bit of trouble there. I'm about 1 kilometer up. Still can't see the ground. I hope I don't accidentally land on a mountain. Oh, I think I've just hit ground. Nope. Nope, still descending. Collision alert. Okay. We're close. Oh, this is kind of ugly.
Engines off.
Alright. It's so dark and disgusting out here that I can't really tell how level the ground is, so we're going to open up both of my exterior doors. And I hope that one of them is kind of level. Open exterior. We want to leave power on, and we want to leave that light on because I might need that later. Okay, a little further back. And let's climb down. It'll be faster. Okay, let's evaluate. Am I flush to the ground over here? I think I am. So the going out forward is the way to go here. All right. Now the part we've been waiting for. Tank driving. First, I gotta get in the seat, which is trickier than you may think. There we go. Oh, Legend made it into the game. Excellent. It's good to see that he's gotten that much right with the world now. Did I not turn everything on? There we go. And here we are in the light of the C2 Nova tank. Now, the next step is to make it to the enemy camp, which is 12 kilometers away. We're going to try to straight line it as much as possible, but we'll see if I can. The tank should be able to roll over most obstacles, like rocks and all that. However, trees and similar are its bane. How's that for all-terrain? Look at that thing go. It doesn't care about how ugly these rocks are. It's just going to keep going. Nothing stops the Nova tank. Nothing! Except, you know, those aforementioned trees. Oh, okay, maybe that rock will do it. And that rock. That's okay, we'll just back off and reorient. It's amazing how much inertia this thing keeps once it's moving. Once you stop your forward propulsion, it keeps rolling a pretty good distance. This might be a little trickier. There's a bunch of little rocks around here. Let's see if I can get through this way. No, not through that way either. Trying to do this at nighttime is a real challenge because plus the steering controls are a little different for going in reverse for a tank. Let's go parallel a bit. And then hang a No, we are in a really rocky territory. You know, this plan looked a lot better on paper. I think I've actually lost distance. But this terrain will only delay me. Oops, that's going to be a big delay if I, There we go. Well, I seem to have really wedged myself into this one. Really wedged myself in. I mean, my wheels aren't even spinning anymore. You know, this was looking like a great plan. Maybe I can blast myself loose. I'm trying. I'm trying. Okay, that didn't work as well as I was hoping. Oh, I take it back. It worked exactly as I was hoping. Okay, let's try to orient myself again to see where I am. I'm still 11 kilometers away. You know, this plan was sounding a lot better on paper. I had no idea that visibility was going to be this kind of garbage. I mean, I can barely see beyond the cannon, honestly. whoever built this as an all-terrain vehicle really blew it. And you know what? I think there is a big mountain area in front of me. And I think that might be a part of my problem. See if I can get enough momentum and some relatively non-huge rock areas. All right, so far so good. With my luck, it'll be daylight by the time I reach the bunker. At this point, though, I'll be content just to get past this mountain. Now just watch. We're going to get to the tip of the mountain, and it's going to be a sheer drop. Ow, ow. That kind of makes me wonder how much damage I've done to the tank just getting this far. Oh, looks like I have a minor problem with that particular rock. Let's see if I can get around it. Those kind of step rocks are difficult. Or maybe I'll call them dinner plate rocks, I'm not sure. Doesn't matter. What matters is they're in my way. I don't want them in my way. And my forward momentum seems to be arrested. Okay, here we go. Back on the move. Big rock to the left. Don't want to hit that. Uh-oh, I think I may have hit the end of the line on here. Just out of Dimension Curiosity, I have not made any distance whatsoever. I am still at 11.8 kilometers. I've been basically going parallel to the bloody place. Ah! Okay, this is bad. This is bad. Okay, well, I feel like I need to apologize to my viewers here because today's stream has been nothing but one problem after another today. Xenothreat just finishes on the first server. The second server I go back to, Xenothreat's active, but I can't get to a ship because the elevator keeps zapping me back to the hab. Third server is the same as the first server. Try to go into the Andromeda and drop a Merlin in there only to crash into a piece of building that happened to be a little higher than expected. And now we have this tank fiasco. Really, I feel like I've let my viewership down today. We still love you. Okay, we may have a problem here. Yeah, I think we have a little bit of a problem. But I'm not beaten yet. When in doubt, shoot your way out. Knock me on my side, I'll just aim the turret in that direction and right myself. I keep doing that though, and I'm gonna run out of ammo on this thing before I have a chance to start blowing up turrets. And I've done it again. Oh. Maybe just pushing my turret in that direction will right me. I didn't have to use my ammo after all. Nice to know. Unfortunately, my situation has not improved. In fact, it has gotten worse because I am now 13 kilometers from my hostiles. Are they trying to shoot the drone? No, they're trying to fly that tank. A-team reference for the win. Or, to be more classic about it, I understood that reference. But I am making no progress. In fact, I am losing progress. I've been completely unable to get closer than 11 kilometers to my target destination. In the meantime, I still seem to be moderately in sight of the C2 Hercules. But you know, I am not ashamed to admit when I'm licked. We're going to go right back to the Hercules, load back up, and get closer to this stupid thing. You know, the plan looked good on paper. That's all I gotta say. And the other blue marker indicating my Andromeda is still there too, which is us adding insult to injury. Slow going. But you know, I got here in the first place, I should be able to get back. Okay, there we are. I'd lost track of where the marker was for the C2. That said, with the way the stream has gone today, I fully expect to jump off of a ridge and land on top of the Hercules and blow both the tank and the Hercules up. Because that's just the way today is gone. Come on, move forward, move forward. You can do it. You can do it. It can't do it. Okay. We desperately need ground navigation improvements. Well, you know, we've got the compass. Well, let me rephrase that. Oh no, I'm going backwards in like a frenzy. I'm falling off the mountain. Well, this has been a nightmare of navigation. All the distance I had gained, I've lost. Oh nuts, I'm gonna hit another rock face. I've put myself in a horrible, horrible position here today. When people use the phrase, "My God, what have I done?" it's things like this that they're talking about. There is a part of me, a very big part of me right now, that is saying the smart move is just to stay put and wait until daylight. Because I can't see where I'm going. I can't get distances. I have no idea of the obstacles ahead of me. And I can't even get back to my Hercules. which is 2 kilometers away. Oh, you know what? That is it. We're running the way back. Screw the tank. Of course, I can't seem to get anywhere on foot either, can I? There we go. It's amazing how many brilliant plans get hosed by ugly reality. Come on, we can do this. We can do this. Just get me up here. And up here. Okay, relatively flat. That's good. Oh! And I fall down. Okay. Okay, where are we? I feel like I'm making more progress running on my feet than I was in the tank. I think that is a stunning indictment about visibility. Okay. Try not to take the sheer drop. You know, looking at this, I'm kind of amazed I got my tank out here. I feel like I've got chasms here. Maybe I shouldn't be so hard on the tank's performance because, damn, these are some pretty nasty crevices. All right, we're making some good progress. You know, flat land. Couple rocks, but you know, I just jump on them and we're all nice and good. I have decided that maybe what we really need in this game aren't tanks with treads. What we need are AT-AT walkers. The good old walkers they used on Hoth. We need those puppies. That would take care of some of these travel problems. Not all of them. God forbid, trying to take a very steep hill would not work out well. And legend says, just wait till there are animals that want to eat you. Yeah, but you know, I've got guns. I can handle animals trying to eat me. But we're talking zero progress towards getting to my target destination, tank. I barely went 2 kilometers away from my star lifter, and virtually no kilometers towards the bunker. That was just awful. And of course, now the dirt and dust don't want to blow around her anymore, which is really annoying. Just another reason why the planet of Hurston... what just happened? Okay. Well, I guess the whole situation has just become academic. So we're back at Everest Harbor. Don't let the MiG-L1 thing fool you. Those things are never correct. Okay, well, this is just peachy. So let's see. At last count, we have an exploded Merlin, a floating Andromeda, a landed C2, and an abandoned Nova all over Hurston. Gotta tell ya, this is demoralizing. So we're going to abandon any pretense of subtlety at this point. Let's do a quick check on some ships here. Good, shields are exactly where I want them to be. We're taking my Carrack. And the only reason I'm taking my Carrack is because I'm going to put this thing right in front of the bunker. I know my shields can handle the turrets. And I'm going to blow up everybody in that bunker. And that is not the nastiest I plan to be. We're going to take it a step further. But first I want to get into ship. Hangar 4. Not pad 4. I know better. Carrack is always in a hangar. Nice big Carrack. With its even more important, nice big shields. But, as the commercial says, wait, there's more. Because one of the other benefits of being in the Carrack is access to the medical bed. And that means as long as the Carrack doesn't do something really impolite like explode, I'll be able to respawn right back in here. I do like the Carrack. I do feel like it's a really complete ship because it can do a little of everything, or at least close enough to it. Not surprising since it's built as an exploration ship. Open sesame, and open sesame. Activate the ICU so that I'll respawn here. And then for the next part of going extreme, I have a very specific set of weapons I use when I'm doing bunker missions. But today, we're not going to be doing that. Today, it's all about the violence. So we're taking the F-55 machine gun. This baby is nothing but brutality. Which is the reason why I'm using it here. Gee, they have attachments for it. I don't think I need any attachments here. Underbarrel, laser pointer, and I don't have anything that can compensate for recoil, so I'll have to live with the recoil. And we're going to swap out all the magazines for the F-55 ammo, because I will go through that ammunition quickly. And by quickly, I mean insanely quickly. But on the bright side, anything that is at the other end of the pointy end is going to have a really horrible day. And finally, because it's always good to be safe, I'm going to equip med pens. Alright, I am prepared. Do you know what that means? It means that the odds are that once I get to the Hendrix bunker, we're probably going to have a 30k. Because that's just how the day is going. Alright, let's open this up. But if I get as far as Hendrix, Hendrix is toast. I ain't fooling around now. And honestly, if the turrets end up blowing up the Carrack, as long as I'm not on board it, I no longer care. Everybody in that bunker is doomed. Okay, we bounced off the end. That's okay. I don't care anymore about the damage. It's all about getting to Hendrix.
Landing gear raised.
And let's adjust my shield slightly so that the front end gets the lion's share of my shield charge. And while we're on the subject, let's move my power triangle so that everything goes to my shields. There's the Andromeda, there's the Star Lifter. And we're going to drift to the right a little bit so I don't do something really crazy like smack into the Andromeda. Because, really, the way this day has gone, I fully would expect to crash into it and wreck my ship. It's just been that kind of day. Now we're going to close in, and we're going to park right in front of that stinking bunker. Nothing else matters now. If I have to land this thing on top of the bunker, I will do so. Closing in, 14 kilometers. I wonder if the tank is still spawned. Doesn't matter. The fate of the tank is no longer relevant. All that matters is the bunker. In fact, let's drop the landing gear early, just in case. Let's put a little more power in the shields.
Landing gear deployed.
Oh, don't think I don't see you. Why does the headlights never make it better? Okay, angle up, angle up. Okay, okay, there's the bunker. And there's the turrets. I'm a little surprised that they... There we go. I was wondering how long it was going to take them to notice before they started shooting. You do that, guys. You do that, but it's not going to help. It's not going to help because I'm here for all of you. Okay, let's take a quick glance. I should be good. Every single one of you in there is going to die. All the ship has to do is last long enough to get me out of here. At that point, it can blow up. I no longer care. I am going to finish this mission or die trying. Admittedly, the die trying part is looking more likely. Open up. Good shielding. Good shielding. Keep up the good work. Now, I suppose what I could do is possibly take a railgun or a missile launcher and blow up that turret. But, nah, we're just gonna leave it go. Let it go. Let it go. It doesn't matter anymore. Nothing matters except the people inside. Although if the ship is still here by the time I'm done, maybe I'll take care of the turret. Alright, I'm inside. Time to bring up, not this gun, this gun. Let's take a good look at it, shall we? This baby is a mini Gatling gun that you can carry in your arms. And we're just basically going to unload 150 round clips into everybody I see. This is not a subtle weapon. This is not a stealth precision weapon. This is a point at your target and watch them turn into bloody chunks weapon. That said, I'm not going to be completely stupid. Let's see, I gotta find my targets first. Bye! One down. You know, I would have expected people to start running in my direction at this point. Oh, there we are. That's two down. Who else wants some? Nobody? Nobody? I didn't get him. That one got him. Oh! Someone on my blind side. Get back to cover. Okay, he can see me, but I can't see him. Oops, reload. And now he's down. Three to go. Who else wants a piece of my cannon here? Hi there. Sitting there is pretty stupid. Two to go. Come now. I'm looking to finish you guys off. Oh, I know you went that way. Oh, that was a mistake. You made me aware of your presence. Let's continue going down here. Oh, hi! Here's what happens when you're sleeping on the job, buddy. So we got one more guy who's up top side. And there you are. Paying too close attention to the wrong direction. Yeah, you do need a stabilizer on this thing. It does kick up on me. It's a constant problem with this particular brand of cannon. But on the other hand, you really can't argue with the results. And speaking of results, let's see about dealing with that stupid turret. Where's my railgun? I'm almost certain I had a railgun in my inventory. Oh, maybe it has to be under primary. Yeah, that's the reason. Custodian, scalpel. I could have sworn. Ah, here we are. Apocalypse Arms. Unfortunately, I don't have a full clip on that, so I'd best not miss. While the F-55 has many disadvantages, you cannot argue with the fact that it does one thing well. It hurts. If you're on the wrong end of that, bad things are going to happen to you. Okay, let's see if it's blown up my Carrack yet. Well, I don't see my Carrack, so I'm going to assume that yes, it's blown it up. Well, you know, that was an acceptable casualty, but it's going to pay for what it has done. Oh my, yes. It is going to pay. I think it's still operational. There. Now it's not operational. That turret will never work again. Yeah, that is my marker for my C2. It's only 12 kilometers away. That is so not going to happen. So here I am, out in the wastelands of Hurston. My Carrack is history, my C2 far, far away. And yet I am satisfied. Because those jerks over in that HDSF Hendrix are now nothing more than dust. I have lost, but I have also won. So there's only one thing left to do. We're going to go into my actions, player, emote, and rude. Unfortunately, I'm not able to get this thing to show the emote. I'd like to use even more rude gestures, but apparently those are not programmed into the game at this moment. I am 12 kilometers away from the C2, and I have no chance of getting there. The last time I tried to do it, I managed to randomly end up dead. So, let's not do anything random about it this time. In the end, worth it. That has got to have been the ugliest 14,000 credits I've ever earned. It was ugly. It puts the ugh in ugly. But I'm back in Everest Harbor now, and now I've got to claim a bunch of starships. The insurance folks are going to have a fit. I'm sorry, sir. You say you need to claim a Hercules, a Nova, an Andromeda, a Merlin, and a Carrack? Seriously? And the answer is, yeah, seriously. This is the story of my life. Let's take a look at ASOP terminals and start slapping on claims. Claim for a Carrack? Check. And it was officially destroyed. Starlifter? Claim it. Check. Waiting for the timer to come up here. There we go. Does the Merlin? Okay, good. The Merlin is not being shown separately, so it should come in with the RSI constellation. I hope. Check. Because I don't have anything under the K for Kruger. And I can't claim the Nova tank here because, you know, space station as opposed to ground station. Might as well claim the Freelancer too while I'm at it. Might as well put it in the use anywhere category. I'm leaving the Star Runner over at Miguel 1 for now, just in case I can manage to get into a Xenothreat at a time of convenience. We're going to grab the Saber and wrap things up with a simple bounty hunt. At least get some cash out of this. Pad 1. I still demand my elevator music. Press button repeatedly in hopes that it will make it go faster. Just like real life. Let he who has never hit the up or down button on the elevators more than once be the one who casts the first stone. And from the looks of the general chat, I'm feeling kind of happy I'm not at the Xenothreat going on there, because it sounds like people are having a little bit of trouble flying their ships. Based on the words crash appearing frequently. Saber is one of my bounty hunting ships of choice lately. Decent maneuverability, decent weaponry. It has a lot of things I like. Even with the changes in 3.14 to capacitor gameplay.
Aegis combat assist activated.
I thank you, Aegis Combat Assist. Let's find a bounty that's worth something. Group VHRT. That sounds like the way to go. And always, 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 always pick up call to arms. And now that we have done that, it's time to go hunt.
Launch complete.
I will take a moment to do a little bit of
Landing gear rejected.
work here. We're going to suppress my overall IR in the hopes that it'll make it a little harder to target me early. Sometimes it matters and sometimes not so much. Thank you, Everest. I don't want to talk to you. I'm busy. Get my weapons onto the same weapons group. And head towards Aberdeen.
Multiple travel initiated.
Because I want my 60K. It'll at least pay for some of the headaches I've dealt with today. That said, the rate things are going here. I seem to have made an essential error here. I apparently never refueled from the last time I flew this thing. I'm in system. I can make it last. Worst comes to worst, I'll hunt down one of those outpost landing pads and refuel there. Okay, target number 1. Gray Dwyer. He could be flying a Vanguard Warden, he could be flying Anvil Hurricane, or he could be flying an Anvil Valkyrie. All very, very dangerous ships. And I'm getting a target early here. That is Gray, and he's flying a Valk. So, you know, figures. Let's see. Don't forget countermeasures. 1, 2, 3. Oops. I didn't want to go that. 3, not 4. Oh, great. He's got backup early. That's going to be annoying. Who's this guy? Another Valkyrie. Okay, so 2 Valkyries. This is a bad way to start. Bad way to start.
Got a surprise for ya!
Yeah, I got a surprise for you too, buddy. Once I kill the primary target, I'm just getting out of here, because I'm not going to stick around tangling around with another Valkyrie. Now the problem with capacitor gameplay is that you fire are awfully short bursts. I mean, really short bursts. But apparently that was still good enough. Okay, let's see if I get myself over to one of these OM markers. Preferably before someone else gets a shot off on me. Too late, boys! I heard them locking the missiles on, and they were too slow. Alright, let's see. HDMO, Dobbs, no. Shelter, no. That's Klesher. Klesher is not a place that's going to let me refuel. Anderson. Anderson will let me refuel. And I really, really, really want to refuel just in case my quantum is becomes important. Now, the fun thing about flying in Aberdeen is that the atmosphere is yellow and the ground is yellow, which means it's very tricky sometimes to determine how close you are to the ground. So, you know, good times. Oh, actually, that's not going to help. 12 kilometers, 11 kilometers. I should be coming in pretty quickly. And it looks like I'm coming to the ground pretty quickly, too. Really quickly, in fact. Let's adjust the approach just a little bit. Ah, and there's the landing pads. Excellent. Once I refuel, rearm, repair, we can go after the remaining 2 targets.
Landing complete. Launch complete.
And here's the hoping. Yes. The full complement of rearm, refuel, repair. Watch that quantum fuel go back up. Watch the hydrogen fuel go back up. My decoys back to full. My minor damage repaired. There we go. All of it repaired. So let's find my second target, which is also at Aberdeen, but on the other side.
Launch complete.
Get enough atmosphere, or out of atmosphere enough, so that I can jump to that OM marker. There we go. Where are you, OM1? OM3, my bad. And then target destination. I'm so over the quantum drive staying active after I hit a waypoint. It's completely screwing with my muscle memory. Plus, my calibration is not working properly, which never ceases to annoy me. Okay. DAC-1, Wharton, target number 2. What will he be flying? In fact, while I'm doing that, let's kind of get a jump on my next target destination. Or at least the general vicinity. He is in a Wharton. I like Whartons. Mainly because they're not Valkyries. He's also got a friend who is a Cutlass Black. Well, hell, I can't ignore a Cutlass Black, can I? I can never resist the opportunity of blowing up those garbage ships to begin with. First things first, though. The Warden is what gets me the primary pay. Okay, I've been detected. They're chucking lots of missiles at me. Well, I got something for you too, guy. It's called incoming fire. Sadly, he's taken my first few shots pretty well. But he's a heavy fighter. I would expect him to... Okay, I take it back. I obviously overestimated him dramatically. So now to take out this Cutlass. An act that always brings me personal joy. Longtime viewers can tell you all about my long-standing antipathy towards the Drake Cutlass. My opinion has not changed over the years, and it's certainly not going to change now. Ah! Well, it looks like he decided there was only one way to deal with it. It ran me. Yeah, Drake forever. Sooner or later, I'm going to put that hashtag on my banned words list. Has what I get for picking on Drake? Well, I'd like to carefully note that it didn't look like the Drake came out of it any better than I did. So, my stealth fighter versus their pile of garbage, I will still accept the victory. And we still have one target left, so I refuse to end the stream without that target being dead. Unfortunately, the ships I tend to rely upon for VHRTs are now all dust. So I'm going to have to go a little outside the box for target number 3. Well, outside of the box for me. And no, in case certain individuals are wondering, outside the box does not mean going into a Drake ship. That just will not happen. In fact, I'm looking forward to the medical gameplay starting so I can have an excuse to never use the Cutlass Red ever again. No, what we're going to take is the Aegis Vanguard Harbinger. The big benefit to the Harbinger is it's got missiles. And my goal is basically to find the last target and stuff every one of those missiles up their tailpipes. I'm not even going to bother with the guns. I'm just going to clean their clock with my missile supply. Meanwhile, we're waiting for the elevator. Again. Ba-da-bum-bum-bum. And... no, not lobby. Pad. It is pad 1, isn't it? Is my memory going on me? It could be. Yes, pad 1. Luckily, I technically have 30 minutes to take care of this last bounty. spoiler alert, it is not going to take me 30 minutes. If all goes well, it's not even going to take 5. Here we are, Vanguard Harbinger. Okay, I'm not entirely sure what just happened there, but I'm choosing not to worry about it. All in. Now, this does have room for a turret gunner, and if I recall correctly, in the Harbinger, the turret is full of rocket pods. So, this thing is very much a missile boat. Power on.
Aegis combat assist activated.
Locate my final target.
Launch complete.
And up. And out. Yeah, it looks like something wacky happened with my tailpipes there, and rear thrusters and other stuff. I'm choosing to ignore it.
And please visit again.
Welcome travel initiated.
Now, they have changed the missile system in the game. With 3.14, there's a little something called Missile Operator Mode, and it changes very much how you use missiles. Bloody quantum rumble snarl curse. And we're going to try to take advantage of the ability to fire multiple missiles in one shot.
Welcome travel complete.
Because if it's worth doing, it's worth overdoing.
Initiated. Welcome travel complete.
I've got Dominator 2s, Stalker 5s, Ignite 4s. Oh yeah, and Stalker, Ignite, Arresters. We're going to load up on the Arresters to start with. And I'm going to charge up all 4. And then we're going to chuck all 4 of them at whatever is at the other end of this waypoint marker. I don't care if it's a Valkyrie. If it's a Hurricane, I might have to downgrade. But if it's a... Okay, it is definitely not a Hurricane. Vanguard Warden. And I have to be within 10 kilometers to kick all these missiles off. I can do that. Slow it down a bit because... Here we go. Locking, locking, locking. A little closer. I don't want those countermeasures to pop up. Okay, let's see whose missiles do more damage. Too close. I'm not going to be able to do that. Looks like we'll have to go back to using the guns. And, you know, I don't think any of those missiles actually hit. Okay, these guys are distinctly more suicidal than they used to be. Luckily, we are using the same basic model of ship. The difference is I'm hitting him and he's not hitting me. Bad news is my hits aren't exactly frequent. Oh, but there are some hits there. Let's kind of swap over to a smaller missile. Too close. I know he's too close. I was just kind of hoping I'd get some distance where I can actually hit him with the smaller missiles.
Shit.
I'm glad he's having a bad day. I've damaged his ship, but he's still flying.
Shields under fire.
Oh, I think he's wounded. I think he's badly wounded. Got him. Okay, nothing else matters now. Because I'm being paid. Doesn't matter. I got my money. Looks like I was being hammered by a hurricane. That doesn't surprise me. Hurricanes have been kind of top line with this patch. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. And why is that up? I've only just now recognized that for some reason my button for currently flying is active, which it shouldn't have been. I'll have to double check my mouse keys later. Well, we are at the 3 o'clock hour, so I think that's a decent note to end this day on. In spite of the almost everything going completely wrong today, is a good place to call it. I will be streaming Star Citizen again next week, with hopefully better results, at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern to approximately 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern. I will also, on Wednesday night, be streaming Star Trek Online, and that I will do from 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern to approximately 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern. Also worth noting, the plan is there's going to be a stream tomorrow, and it's going to be most likely streamed by Legend Eternal for the Eternal Riders Ground Race. We're going to basically be on one of the moons, racing ground vehicles, some of which may involve weapons-free ammunition, and some of which may not. So we'll see how that goes. If nothing else, it should be entertaining. Okay, well, thank you all for watching, whether you're watching this live or catching it on YouTube or Twitch. I appreciate you taking the time out to watch. This is Korath Landwalker, signing off.